All my life, I've been a global traveller, seeking cultures and traditions that are just as vibrant today as in times past. We're opening doors, stepping into worlds most never see, because that's where the best stories are, behind closed doors. We're sharing stories of local life and the working world, plus spending time with some of the most interesting people you'd ever want to meet. It's truly privileged access that always leaves me excited to explore more. "10,000 years ago, Italy's Arno River began creating new land near Pisa, depositing layer upon layer of soil as it met the sea.
It's a river delta. It was empty, it was nothing around. It was like a lagoon.
On this marshy land, the city of Pisa sprang to life. Though many of its buildings soon displayed a bit of a lean, the city remained determined to build their grand dream: the Square of Miracles. The baptistry and cathedral were the first to be built. They also started leaning. As construction progressed on the bell tower, which we know today as the Leaning Tower of Pisa, it became clear this former marshland was not the ideal space the builders had envisioned.
The ground is sand and clay. They dry it so they can build on it. But it's always a problem to build on the sand.
The illogical choice was driven by ego.
Pisa was a very important harbor, and they want to build something to see this power.
Pisa was one of 4 major powers dominating the Mediterranean during the 11th century, so success was a given. Despite issues with the baptistry and cathedral, construction on the tower, which began in 1173, continued full force. But after 3 floors, its lean could no longer be ignored, and the site fell silent. The project lay dormant for nearly a century. It took almost 200 years to 1372 before the tower was complete. Century after century, the tower's inclination increased. Many solutions were offered, including one to use balloons, but nothing succeeded. Finally, in 1990, experts from around the globe gathered to craft a solution that would rescue the tower.
It's interesting to work on a so important building. We have no documents, so we have to read the building with the restoration. We go through the material, through the mortar, through the stones.
Ultimately, a surgical excavation was chosen. To prevent instability during the process, steel bands with cables stabilized the first floor. A concrete ring attached to more cables firmly held the 3rd floor. And over 800 tons of lead was added to create a counterweight on the tower's north side. Then, sophisticated corkscrew drills extracted more than 79 metric tons of earth. The inclination was reduced from 5.5 degrees to less than 4. For increased stability and longevity, steel reinforcements were added to strengthen stress points on the first level. While outside, a steel band now encircles the tower. And the structure remains under constant watch, with more than 120 sensors capturing and analyzing every perceptible movement. Though people have been coming to the Square of Miracles for centuries to study the Pisa Bell Tower, it remains a place of questions. After 8 centuries, we still can't confirm the name of the architect who penned this graceful architectural masterpiece. The person who decided that each bell should have its own personality, unique in size and tone, also remains a mystery. And then there's still an active debate on whether Galileo actually performed his legendary gravity test here, dropping balls from the top of the tower. Though the answers are likely to remain elusive, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is nonetheless a fascinating place to explore. It's been said Pisa's Leaning Tower could defy the tug of gravity for another 300 years. Perhaps with a little help from its home, the Square of Miracles. Istanbul. For centuries, it's been a place of common ground for two continents. This is where Europe meets Asia, and Christianity meets Islam. And at its heart, a timeless sentinel. While foreigners know this as the Blue Mosque, the real name is Sultan Ahmed Mosque. I found the magnificence of this place immediately brought me to a whisper. Details reveal themselves slowly, like pages from a treasured book. And because this is an active mosque, it offers a fascinating window into a culture few Westerners know well. Look closely. You'll notice how the intricate pattern in the carpet doubles as a guide, helping the faithful align with others for prayer. How worshippers wash 3 times, known as ablution, before entering. And how once inside, there is absolute focus.
We have to have intention. You have to face the direction of Qibla and you're gonna say Allahu Akbar. The man like this and the woman like this.
Like this.
It means I put everything, my own plans, my business, everything behind. Right now I am in front of Allah. I'm the consciousness.
Yes.
So it's called khushu.
The Sultan Ahmed Mosque is an important bridge of understanding between cultures. While the immense cascading domes were impressive, as were the 20,000 beautiful ceramic tiles and the 200 stained glass windows, what most caught my attention was the welcoming ambiance, the joy and even playfulness of everyone I met here. This is a place of sharing I'll always remember.
It is so important. Muslim, Christian, we welcome everyone.
Come, immerse yourself in the beauty and spirit of the Sultan Ahmed Mosque. Let us share with you the heart of this enduring masterpiece. One of architect Dominique Montaner's greatest works began with a question from a very small client.
Imagine a choir asking, could you please build for us a concert hall? And he said, well, you sing so beautifully, I'm going to build up a garden for your music.
And create a garden the architect most certainly did, flooding his design with thousands of flowers. Funded by donations and the Orfeo Català Choral Society, Palau de la Musica was built in 1905. And since local artists were responsible for many of the decorative features, the hall was embraced immediately. Barcelonans loved the Catalan cultural elements, the vibrant colours and engaging ambience. But this was not always the case.
During the 30s, there was a strong intellectual movement in Catalonia, and they were asking for the demolition of this building.
Of this building?
Of this building, because they were convinced that it was impossible to concentrate on the music here, because your eyes...
You were distracted.
All the time distracted, but all these beautiful things.
Designing a building this original would be difficult on its own, but Montaner faced an additional challenge. Palau de la Musica had to sound as good as it looked.
I like these acoustics very much. You can touch the music, you can go inside the music and feel every small detail.
Palau de la Musica is a striking example of the Catalan modernista style, which combines nature's curves and dynamic shapes with iconic nationalistic symbols. Today, this remarkable artistic endeavour remains a powerful symbol of Catalonian culture. At its completion, it was named the best building of the year by the Barcelona City Council. It's also the only concert venue in this style to be honored as a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
If you look at the small details, all this mixture, it's very special. It's really magic.
I hope you'll explore more of Barcelona's cultural treasures and traditions. Berlin's contemporary, thought-provoking Jewish museum is a dynamic zigzag design created by American architect Daniel Libeskind.
In this building, really everything's different from what you're used to. All the lines you see in the surroundings are uneven. The architect, he wanted to disorient people, that you somehow experience maybe a little bit the difficulty of German Jewish history. And this makes the experience of what you see in the exhibitions much stronger.
There are many dramatic exhibits that engage all your senses, inviting you to imagine, reflect, and contemplate the path German Jewish citizens have traveled. While the Holocaust experience is a part of the museum, there are many exhibits that are a celebration of German Jewish life. Subtle elements of the culture and heritage are explained through the eyes of Jewish citizens and their families. Personal stories from the Middle Ages to modern times, providing context and enhancing the experience. The museum is also a symbol of hope, personified by its pomegranate tree, long important in Jewish culture, where visitors are invited to climb up and hang their wishes for the future.
I would like to invite Viking guests to come and see our museum, to see the wonderful architecture of Daniel Libeskind and to experience the complex German Jewish history and culture we are presenting.
Viking River Cruises. Let us share with you the culture and history of old Europe. It's been said the eyes are a window into the soul, but these eyes masked an astonishing imagination. Antoni Gaudí possessed such a unique view of the world that his college president commented during graduation, "We're in the presence of either a genius or a madman." Born in 1852, Gaudí's influence on the architecture and character of Barcelona is unmistakable. His style defied categorization, emulating the flowing rhythm of nature. Few at the time understood his work, including the city of Barcelona, which awarded him just one project for street lamps. Gaudí's most impassioned work was Sagrada Familia. Inside, the design resembles a stone forest, the powerful tree trunks reaching for the sky, complete with branches and leaves at the top. Gaudí orchestrated every detail here, even choosing the different types of stone for the pillars to optimize weight distribution, which is why they're different colors. But what surprised me most is that the Sagrada Familia began in 1882, still isn't finished, and it won't be until 2026. At Park Güell, Gaudí sought to infuse his work with the complex patterns he'd observed in nature. It was an unrelenting quest that also turned him into an avid recycler.
All those styles and ceramics before being in here were in balconies, kitchens, bathrooms, places like that.
Gaudí's obsession with nature was anything but a passing fancy. It began, in fact, in childhood with a diagnosis of rheumatism, a condition that left him isolated.
When he was a kid, he was sick, so he would not play with the rest of the children. So he spent a long time alone just observing nature.
Gaudí's epiphany was that man creates with straight lines, while God fills nature with graceful curves and angles. At Casa Batlló, Gaudí abandoned straight lines entirely. The result was nothing short of astonishing. Especially the roofline, which it said depicts a slain dragon, complete with a sword sticking out of its back.
The everyday people didn't understand anything of him. It was too modern. He broke with the lines of all the other houses, and he began to do really things that were absolutely a scandal for most of the people. He developed his own style, and I think he marked then the architecture of the future. There is no one like him.
Gaudí's passion for architecture burned so intense he worked every day of his career. A career that left a multitude of original works for later generations to contemplate. In the end, the man who helped shape the soul of Barcelona was recognized by the world with 7 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Antoni Gaudí is a priceless part of Barcelona's history. I hope you'll explore more of the city's architectural treasures and traditions. Join us again here on Viking.TV as we open more doors around the world on our quest to explore the planet's most fascinating cultures and delightful traditions.